Welcome to the MLMsuccess.com podcast, the show designed to return the network marketing industry to its roots of personal growth, leadership development, and wisdom of the ages success principles. We share with you real success stories from real people that we hope will inspire and encourage you personally and help you progress forward in your business and your life. We believe if you build people, people will build the business. Now here is your host, who has been called the number one mind in network marketing, the MLM prophet, network marketing virtual mentor, and a host of other names that we will not mention because this is a family show. Frankly, he's just a small town guy that figured out that the real product in network marketing is people. Dale Calvert.
Hey, this is Dale Calvert. I'd like to welcome you to this session of the MLMsuccess.com podcast. I hope you've had a fabulous week. Hope things are going well for you. You know, when all this corona started, I said this is a tremendous time to really buckle down, focus in, take advantage, refine your skills, refine your processes, get ready to roll when all this starts to ease up a little bit. I know a lot of you have taken that advice. I have taken that advice for myself. It's been very productive time for us here. We got so much going on. It's exciting in many ways. It's crazy to see how different people react to stress and the unknown, but it's been fabulous for us, and I hope it has been for you guys as well. You know, life's good. We just got back from Kentucky. Was able to spend 4 days there with my family, and my mom celebrated her 80th birthday. 80 years old. She kept saying, I can't believe I'm 80, and I kept thinking, I can't believe you are either. It's amazing. Life happens too quick, guys. But, things are starting to ease up here in Georgia. Dawn and I have been out to eat a couple times, sitting on the patio and kind of getting things back to normal from that standpoint. Online sales have been fabulous. I know some of you, all of you are involved in network marketing, but some of you have other side gigs going on. Maybe you sell through eBay or through a Shopify store or Amazon, whatever. And our online sales have just been phenomenal during this time. I mean, it's almost like it's holiday season. So it's really been interesting. Just look this morning, and if you go to Google as of this moment and type in UK Wildcat Gifts for the University of Kentucky, of course, UK Wildcat Gifts, which is a great buyer's term. We're not just at the top. We got the snippet, got a picture of our website right on front page, number one at the top, as high as you can be on Google. Just through organic search. So a lot of good things are happening. A lot of areas we've been concentrating on. We're starting to see some benefits from that. I've had the opportunity to speak with many of you that listen to this podcast that I've never met over the phone. We've been doing several different surveys, and it's been very insightful and helpful for me, and hopefully for those that we've had the opportunity to speak with that received in the opportunity. We did some just free consulting calls for some people who had completed different surveys and things that we've been doing over the last 30, 40 days or so. So today on this podcast, I'm not upset, but we really, it's on me, okay? It's on me, but we've got to have the only way I know to say it is a preacher would say a come to Jesus meeting this afternoon. This session's really not for those of you that are kind of in the evaluation stage of network marketing. Is this a business model that I want to pursue? Not those that are more been around for a while and kind of treating it as a hobby or a social club. That's fine, but I know not too many of those people listen to podcasts consistently or regularly. This is really for the active, full-time leaders who are already full-time or well on their way This is something that I've got to communicate. I've got to do it today. I don't want to ever have to think about this again. And I'm going to talk about something I've been talking about for 25 years, but I've obviously not done a very good job at really communicating this, or maybe people just don't believe me when I'm trying to communicate what I try to communicate. But last week I did 11 consulting calls in a day, and the last 3 that I spoke with were fabulous people. And everybody I've talked to, it's been phenomenal. I've really enjoyed it. It's given me a lot of insights. But the last 3 were, all 3 were full-time 6-figure earners. None of them were regular coaching clients that I work with on a monthly basis. And I think one of them was a past member of the MLM Training Club, but the other 2 weren't. And, they had all responded to one of the surveys that we had emailed out to a portion of our subscribers. And it was very insightful for me. But when I got off that phone with the last one, I was just like, my gosh, Dale, you've been talking about this for 25 years and people are not hearing. And then I literally just was exhausted. And I was thinking about, Dale, who really gets what you've been trying to say as it relates to getting people started correctly, and getting people launched and that type of thing. And, when I really thought about all the people that I've talked to over the years and people that I've worked with, I realized that there's only a handful of people that I would say they really get it. They understand it, and they've implemented it, and they've experienced it, and they understand the enormous amount of conviction and emotion and determination and that you have to be with people. If you're going to, you got to love them enough to tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear, and to point them in the right direction with all the energy and emotion you possibly can from a very value-focused standpoint. It's about giving them a shot, an opportunity to have success. So I understand that the majority of people that listen to this podcast, most of you are still trying to figure out how to get through enough numbers so you can recruit your 3 to 5 new people, customers/team members a month, and control your destiny in this profession. That's most of you. I understand that. And just let me say, look, if you're not at a point of 3 to 5 new people every single month so you can control your destiny in this profession, that's the only thing you need to be thinking about, concerned with, or focusing on. I promise you, you've got to get your skill sets, your mindsets, and your activities to a point where you're recruiting 3 to 5 new people a month if you ever expect to have the opportunity to control your destiny in this profession. And the good news is you can get there, but probably not at the level that you're working right now with the amount of activities that you're putting into your business right now. We did a survey. We've done several in the last 60 days or so, but one, we were asking people how much time are they spending for their business, and then we asked how much time are you spending on income generating activities. And then what are you really spending your time on? And a lot of it, I prospect on Facebook 3 or 4 times a day, and I do this and I do that, and it was just hit and miss, no focus, no what are you trying to accomplish? What skill set are you trying to master at this point? Of the five core fundamentals of this business, which fundamental are you working on? Important questions that, in my mind, people should be asking for themselves, to themselves. And just the lack of focus and direction on where you are, where you're going, and how you're going to get there is astounding to me. It's astounding. So I'm not even talking to the people that are in a mode right now where you're trying to get yourself to that 3 to 5 new people every single month so you can control your destiny. If that's you, and I know it's the majority of you, then I would go back and go through localmlmleads.com. Go through that webinar. That's how you master lead generation. It's sequential. It happens sequentially, concept by concept, idea by idea, method by method. The basic process when you get a lead is the same. They create the lead. What are you going to do? Play 1, play 2. What questions do I need to answer for you before we get you started? Okay, you got signed up. What's the first step? 20 reasons, top 3, 50 names to practice with. It's the same thing, guys, over and over and over and over. And it's monotonous, but it stacks the odds for success in your favor. It stacks the odds for success in your favor. That's all we're trying to do. So if you're not at 3 to 5 a month yet, this session probably is not for you. And honestly, it's for extremely active full-time people or those that are on their way. And if you're not there yet and you're still in the mode of the 3 to 5 a month, then it's probably going to be very discouraging for you. It could be very discouraging for you. So I just want to tell you that up front. Because now, I hope you have the internal fortitude to deal with it. But I don't know. I don't know. So I'm just saying right up front. But it is what you're going to have to accept as you look down the road. And once you get to a point where you're doing the 3 to 5 a month, this is the next major hurdle that many people that get to 3 to 5 a month never get past this hurdle. And I've talked about it in many times, many different ways, but today I gotta have something that I can do, whatever I can do to try to help people have a paradigm shift. Because it's not that they can't, it's just that they don't. Because somehow, some way, we always think, well, next time it's going to be different. For those of you that are not at the 3 to 5 a month level yet, you're probably going to think again that this is discouraging. And if you're easily discouraged, I would just turn this podcast off right now. Here's what you've got to get from your head to your heart as soon as you possibly can. And I know nobody else talks about this, and I don't know why, because it's so obvious. But the first thing that I would tell you, that if you're on a row and you're full-time or almost full-time, and you can do it and you can communicate and you love what you're doing, understand that you're not normal. That's the first thing you have to understand. You are not normal. You're not typical of most people. Most people don't think the way you think. You're not normal. And that's good, because normal people don't make abnormal income. You look at all the people that have signed a network marketing application, figuratively, they've joined a network marketing company. And again, I'm talking to people that are full-time or well on their way in this session. And you're not normal. So to think that other people see things the way you see it, think the way you think, is just naive. It's naive. But the thing that you have to get is when people join you on anywhere on your entire team, everybody that ever joins your team, when those people join your team because they want to build a business, they want to create an income, they want to develop a team, the majority of those people, the majority, are never going to start. Let me say that again. They're never going to start. The start stops most people. It's not going to change. This person's not going to be any different than the last 100 that have joined your team. The start stops most people. And to not totally understand that is naive, because most of you that I'm talking to, you've been around long enough, you've seen this happen long enough where it should be beyond obvious at this point. Number two, so the start's going to stop most people. They're not even going to call their mama. They're not even going to talk to their mama. Okay, they're not. And the rest of them, they may be excited, ignorance on fire the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. They're calling you every day, fired up, going after it. But the rest of them, 70%, are not going to start. And the other 27 of the 30 that you have left are going to be off auto ship within 90 days. Did you hear what I just said? That's how it's going to play out. 7 out of 10 are never going to start. 2.7 of the 3 you have left are going to start, and then they'll be normally gone within 90 days. And you say, well, Dale, you shouldn't be talking about that. We got we have a better way. It's a stone cold fact. We have a better way. We have to stop and look at the facts. See, you can't win the game if you don't understand the rules. You can't, and you got to understand the rules have evolved. Some of you are looking at this business like it's 1990. And you don't understand. Network marketing is not the only game in town today. There's multiple ways for people to create cash flow from home. Multiple ways. We're not the only game in town any longer. So we have to stop, look at the facts, look at people, look at the culture, and the main thing is just look at your track record. Some of you have been around 10, 12, 15 years. Look at all the people that have joined your company. How many times have you seen these scenarios play out? They're excited, they join, they don't do diddly after they join. Well, I forgot about kids soccer. Well, as soon as Valentine's Day is over, Dale, then I'm going to get started. Oh, it's March Madness. I can't do anything now. It's March Madness. April showers, April showers. I can't do anything in April. And excuse. And we're sitting around waiting, expecting, like, they're never going to do anything. They're not. But it's like you, in your heart and soul, it because you've seen it too many times. And you've heard all the excuses. People that make money and build businesses don't make excuses. People that make excuses don't build businesses. Now that's just the way it is. Why accept the excuse? Why even give any mental thought to that situation? It makes no sense. So when we really stop and look at the facts and look at the track record and look at the history of this profession, where it was, the fact that it came out of the personal development movement, it was a personal development program with a compensation plan attached, where it is today. Today it's just honestly, it's just become, someone I heard say recently, laundering money among friends. Laundering money among friends. Well, I joined yours. I joined you and yours. Now you can join me and mine, and we'll go find the next money game, and we'll jump into it, and we'll make our upfront commissions, and then we'll be off to the next thing. After we get our quick start bonuses here, we'll go collect them somewhere else. And it's just become a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. And some of you have been around this profession too long not to figure this out by now. You've been around too long not to figure this out by now. So I can help you over the next couple of minutes. But I need you to really listen and really focus on what I'm trying to communicate, because it's important. It's real important. And most of you, again, you're worrying about, well, I got to listen to this next podcast. I wish he would hurry up and finish. Look, if you will focus, if you will really focus and listen, I can really help you here, because it's not going to change. People are people. I've said many times, I can't tell you what one particular person will do, but I can tell you what 99 out of 100 will do. There's one, I don't know what any one person will do, but I can tell you what 99 out of 100 will do. People are predictable. Yes, everybody has different skills and talents. We all do. Everybody does. But people in general are very predictable. They're very predictable. And so when I say 70% will never start, you've seen that. If you've been around this profession any time at all, you've seen that. The start stops most people. When I talk about 27% are going to start, but in less than 90 days, they've pretty much hung it up. You know, they might hang out a little bit longer if they really like your team and the people that they've learned, they've gotten to know. You know, and if they hang around long enough, every now and then something does cause some of these people at points to break out if they hang around long enough. You know, because they're going to learn, hopefully, just through, if it's not intentional learning, you know, where they're really mastering lead generation, they're mastering how to launch a new person, they're mastering the two-step recruiting process, they're mastering the retail system with a referral system attached. If they're not really even focused on mastery, which those of you that are in the training club, you've seen the mastery webinar. If they're not focused on mastery, there's only 5 core fundamental systems to master. If they're not focused there, if they're just hanging out, they're going to learn some through osmosis. But 70% are never going to start. 27%, you know, they might start, be excited, but they're going to lose their steam normally within 90 days. And then 3%, they just go do it. They go do it. They go use their transferable skills and credibility and work ethic, and they put something together and they go do it. And then those are the people that have the most trouble duplicating down the road. And it comes back to the fact that they don't understand that they're not normal. They're not normal. So when we just stop and we look at the scenario and we look at how this plays out, what is the answer? Because nobody in their right mind would get involved in a business that requires building a team when 97% of the people that join the team are gone within 90 days. Nobody in their right mind would even attempt this. And that's why I say many times, this is the most challenging business model in the world. It's also the most rewarding, but it is the most challenging because you're building a volunteer army. You're building a volunteer army. You can't hire and fire people like we can do in traditional business. It's volunteer. So if we just back up and we look at this and we ask ourselves and we look at people and we ask ourselves, why did they join? Why did they join? Because I can tell you the people that move forward and continue to move forward are those with strong reasons for doing the business to begin with. If they join because you convinced them to join, or you talked them in, or you shamed them into joining, or because you joined them in their last 3 programs, so they're going to join you in this one, all of that is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I had somebody that had called, and I rarely answer the phone, but every now and then I will. And, their whole thing was, Dale, I'll look at yours if you look at mine. And it's like, I said, look, I don't know who you are. I don't know if we've ever met. I'm not trying to offend you, but just the fact that you said that tells me that I would never join you in any kind of business you were ever attempting to do. I wouldn't even think about it. Anyone with that mindset. So if we just stop and we think about it, how can we win this? Dale, if these are the numbers, if this is what it really is, and mark my words, it's what it is. If this is what it really is, how can we win? Well, you win when you can personally enroll 3 to 5 new team members / customers monthly. Any combination. You should focus on team members because team members can have the potential to duplicate. Go back to Jim Rohn, 3 Basic Laws, How to Build a Network Marketing Organization CD. What happens to the good seed? And you're looking for the good seed. I've said it 1,000 times. If you can get your skill sets and mindsets to 3 to 5 new people a month, you can find 3 to 5 people a year that want it as bad as you want it. Okay, but I don't want to build my business with 3%ers. I don't. I want to build my business with well-trained 27%ers because well-trained 27%ers can create real, true duplication. When people have built their business based upon not personality, work ethic, drive, enthusiasm, transferable skills, and again, all that's important, all of it's important, but the business needs to be built systematically, sequentially, based upon systems, because systems duplicate. Personality, work ethic, drive does not duplicate. Systems duplicate. So the only chance you ever have of duplicating is to systemize your business, just like a franchise. And again, I've said this 10,000 times, but we're talking about right now, how do we increase our odds for success? And the way to do that is figuring out who the 27%ers are. Who are the people that are going to take action for at least 90 days before they quit? And figure out who are the 70%ers so you don't waste time, energy, effort, and emotion with the wrong people at the wrong time in their life. Who are the people that are going to consistently get into a routine and who have the opportunity down the road to get into a rhythm, a consistent rhythm that produces 3 to 5 new people a month so they can find their 3 people a year, and in 3 years, If you find 3 people a year that want it as bad as you do, in 3 years, you're a superstar. You're not just a superstar in your company, you're a superstar in this profession. That's the game plan. Because most people will never get to superstar status because they're wasting too many time with the wrong seeds. They don't understand what they're really looking for. And they're really looking for the right person at the right time in their life who's teachable and willing to take consistent action and to learn, to master, to work towards mastery of the five core fundamentals. Guys, this is not difficult if you can just get it's not difficult if you understand the rules of the game. See, if you put me out on a hockey rink with my God-given talent, skills, abilities, and understandings, I'm going to fail, and I'm going to fail miserably. Now, I might stay up on my skates for a little bit, and I might look like I'm athletic, but if I don't even know the rules of hockey. I know there's nets on both ends, but I don't even know the rules. So I'm not, I might look like a hockey player, but if I don't know the rules, for you as my coach to assume because I look like a hockey player and I've been on hockey teams before, therefore I can play hockey, is naive. And that's the way we look at network. Well, they've been around. They've been in the industry 15 years. They know what to do. I'm not going to try to direct them. I'm not going to try to give them systems. They've been around 15 years. Look, they got one bad year repeated 15 times. They don't have 15 years of experience. Come on. We got to get down to where the rubber hits the road here. How many times have you seen somebody that's joined you? They're fired up and excited and turned on and charged up, and that lasts for a few weeks. 90 days, they're in the witness protection program. They won't even call you back. How many times do you have to experience this? How many? Before you just stop and say, you know what, maybe I need to stop and just think about this a little bit different than everybody else is, because it's become common mainstream culture in this profession to just recruit somebody and see what happens. It's like we just throw the mud on the wall and see if it sticks. And I've thought about this a lot. I've thought about why has this become so mainstream? Like all people are thinking about, talking about, focusing on is getting them in. But it's not getting them in. That's just part of it. That's the only value in getting someone in is that's verification that you're working towards your 3 to 5 new team members a month, so you can control your destiny. That's the value of getting someone in. Other than that, it's really not value. There's no value. I mean, can you really get excited about, you make $8 or $12 or $22 a month or whatever it is if they stay on auto ship? Whatever it may be for your company? I mean, is that why you're here? Or do you want to build a well-trained, duplicating organization of people that creates long-term passive residual income that, when it's invested correctly, can create income-generating can be invested in income-generating assets that ultimately will create wealth? Why are you here? What do you want? So you got to get better. Now, you can't get better with this 70%. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing your upline can do, your company. 70% of the population are going to die broke. They're going to die broke. a tragedy. But they're never going to have the discipline to reprogram their mind for success, because by the time they were 12 years old, they had so much junk programmed into them. They've never realized it, and they aren't going to take the time. They don't have enough confidence, enough self-awareness to understand that they have limiting beliefs, that they can do anything. They can do anything in life they want if they help enough other people. They can have anything in life they want if they help enough other people get what they want and what their mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. What their mind can conceive and believe they can achieve, but they don't believe that. They have limiting beliefs. They had authority figures that messed them up, whether it be teachers or parents or grandparents or whoever. And they have too many limiting beliefs. Their self-talk stinks. They have no confidence. And they're not willing to spend the time, energy, and effort that it takes to reprogram their mind, even though they could do that in 15 focused minutes a day. 15 focused minutes a day, they could reprogram their mind. But they're not going to do it. Why don't they do it? Because they don't believe it will work for them. Why? Because of their self-limiting beliefs. And that's 70% of the population. So it's just sheep following each other around. And if they get all riled up, they get all fired up and excited, then, they might go try to, you can watch them right now at the time of this recording. You can watch the 70%ers, looting storefronts all over the United States. Is what it is. The 3%ers, and just so I'm not offending anybody, I don't know anything about that situation. I haven't watched anything, haven't seen anything, I've just heard bits and pieces, but I do know that if you're trying to have a peaceful protest and make a point, it's not a real good idea to be spray painting courthouses and breaking out windows, and that doesn't really accomplish anything except identify you as a 70%er. That's all that does. And I feel sorry for all that. And again, I'm not trying to make any political statement here. So I'm just trying to save myself a couple of emails. As far as the 3%ers, it's amazing to me how many 3%ers have been around this profession years are now starting to listen to podcasts, and I've talked to a lot over the last 6 months or so, and that's a good sign. But 70%ers have the opposite challenges of 3%ers have the opposite challenges of 70%ers, because they've got some good stuff. They entered with some good stuff. They're good. They've got an abnormal determination, drive, work ethic, communication, something. It's abnormal. And maybe it's developed, maybe it was God-given, but they got it. And when they got it, then they can put together followings. But this business is not about creating followings. This business is about creating leadership. Real leaders don't develop followers. They develop other leaders. And how are leaders developed? How are homegrown leaders developed? And I've talked about this as much as I possibly can. So obviously, guys, the way to win is you taking responsibility and getting better, working with the 27% on your team. That's how you win. You win with the 27%ers. But Dale, you said they're going to quit in 90 days. Yes, they are. But look yourself in the mirror and say, what are you going to do so that when they do quit, you know that you've done everything you possibly could to give them the best chance for success and to stack the odds for success in their favor to the very best of your ability. What are you going to do? It's on you. It's not on them. Because here's what's going to happen. There'll be some that hang around long enough, that start progressing, start learning, that are willing to take responsibility, willing to start working on their own self-talk. Again, this is a personal development program with a compensation plan attached. And some people are willing to say, you know what? I'm going to try to get better. I think I can get better. I'm going to become the best I can be. I'm going to become the best leader I can be. I'm going to become the best learner because I understand that great teachers are first-grade students. I'm going to become a great follower because I understand that great leaders are first-grade followers. And I'm going to get plugged in. I believe in what these people are doing. I believe that I can learn it just like other people learned it. I look at the successful people on their team. They're all doing the same thing, saying the same thing. They have a great attitude. Yeah, they all have different strengths and different abilities, but they're all plugged in. They're all learning. They're all using the right terminology, the same terminology. There's no confusion. They've taught me. Someone doesn't show up on the Play 2 corporate conference call. I call them up that evening and I say, hey, sorry you missed the call. Are you still interested, or can I go ahead and scratch you off my list for now? And I know they do it every week, and that's what I'm doing. And you know what? First time I tried it, it worked. The guy said, please don't scratch me off the list. We had something come up, blah, blah, blah. Again, guys, everything that we do, everything that I try to communicate, it's not to hear myself talk. I've been down this road. I understand human nature. I get it. I understand how it has to come together. Now, you say, well, Dale, I've never done any of this, and I made $92,000. Yeah, and you know what? You're the same person that'll be calling me down the road saying, Dale, my income's dropped from $92,000. Last year it was $61,000. This year I'm not even going to make $50,000. I'm trying to prevent those type of conversations. That's all I'm trying to do. From giving you common sense, track record info that if you've been around long enough, you've seen happen over and over and over and over. And I talked about this 30 years ago. People continue to shoot themselves in the foot over and over, making the same mistakes. Why? Because it's easier. It's easier to sponsor someone and think, well, they've been around 15 years, they know what to do. And just let them do whatever happens. It's easier to do that than to say, hey, look, I'm working with a guy that's developed more six-figure income earners, 5, 6, and 7-figure income earners on his personal team than any teacher, trainer, guru in the market. Do you want to get plugged into our systems, or do you want to do it on your own? It's easier to just let them let them do whatever they do, and whatever they do, you'll draw commissions for 90 days at least and find another one. I'm not saying it's easier. I'm saying most people perceive it to be easier. To me, it's ludicrous. It makes no sense at all. I want to know when they quit that I did my part to stack the odds for success in their favor. That I talked to them straight. I treated them like I would want them to treat me. I gave them the best direction I could. I gave them every opportunity. And even at that, most are still going to quit. But you know what? That's okay. Because once you understand what you're looking for, the people that you're really looking for, then and you take those type people and you combine it with a solid 5 core fundamental systems around your company, your product, and your opportunity, and you got those 5 core systems, and they're there and they're solid, and everybody's on the same page, and you combine that with the right people, and you do your part and provide leadership, then you end up with stories that you can hear throughout this podcast. You end up with the David Cooks that filed bankruptcy the day their distributor kit and product arrived and went on to develop a 6-figure income within his first year. You end up with, the number 2 or 3 podcast session here, Joy Moore's divorced mother, dependent upon government assistance, 2 special needs kids, 3 children, 2 special needs, burnout, frustrated, aggravated, and says, why should I give you the last $200 that I have to my name to get started in this business? That's what she asked me after the opportunity meeting. I said, you shouldn't. If you didn't see a way out tonight, then keep your $200. And I wish you well. And I walked away. Next week she was there again. And she ended up joining. And her top 3 reasons: I want to one day take my kids to Disney World. I want to one day take my kids to Disney World. And I watched her grow. I watched her pursue it and stay committed and dedicated and get plugged in and learn and start mastering the skill sets, mindsets necessary for success. And 2 or 3 years later, I go out to my mailbox and there's a postcard from Joy from Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. I can tell you the stories, guys. This podcast is full of them. I know about. Go listen to Go Fishing by Phil Shuff. It's here. Listen, he's a real guy. Corporate 500, manager, more skills and skill sets than most of us would ever even think about entering this profession with, and struggled for 3 years until he realized he's not the issue. Duplicatable systems are. So, the stories are here for you. You can go through and you can listen. Listen to Brad Bradford. I've been where you're going. Got embarrassed, pulled up to McDonald's and didn't have the money to buy chicken nuggets for his kid at McDonald's drive-thru. Football coach, school teacher, got sick and tired of being sick and tired and said, I'm ready to do something different. And I believe if I plug into what you're sharing, I can make it happen. And he did. He did. And again, I know who I'm looking for because I've seen enough of them, okay? I've seen enough people. You got to know who you're looking for. But success starts by becoming the right person, not finding the right person. Becoming the leader that you know, if somebody decides that when you find that right person, that you can get them plugged in, that you can ask them the right questions, that you can care enough about them to tell them what they need to hear, not just what they want to hear. And you got to understand, ladies and gentlemen, you got to understand that the only way you're going to win is to get really, really good with those 27%. That's where that wealth is created with the 27%ers. Most of you are spending too much time with the wrong people and not enough time with the right people. And 3%ers, 3%ers that have been around this profession for a long time, they're starting to figure this out a little bit. It appears. I don't ever get my hopes up too much when it comes to that, because I've been on this bandwagon for years. And I said, well, Dale, why should we? You shouldn't listen to a word I say. You should not listen to one word I say, but you should look at the track record. That's all I do. If I want to learn a business model, I don't care what somebody says. I don't care how many followers they got on TikTok. or whatever. I don't care. None of that means anything to me. What's their track record? That's all that matters. And when you start looking at it from a real solid frame of mind, it changes everything. And I'm not just, and that's in any business model. Usually the person that is most popular is not the person that you should be following. Usually, not always, but normally. And I think I talked about that maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm not sure. But guys, I hope this has helped you. I hope this has jarred you. Because here's the deal. You say, well, Dale, I can't find anybody that does anything. Everybody that joins is like they start off, they're excited. And then within a couple of months, they won't even return my phone calls. Do you have any idea how many times I've had those conversations? Any idea? It's the same thing over and over and over and over again. I experienced it when I started. But then I got in the mirror and I said, how can I maximize this? How can I get as good as I can possibly come to stack the odds for success in people's favor, knowing they're still going to quit. But how can I at least give them the opportunity? That's why. And y'all have heard me say this in the past. Okay, they join. What's the first thing you do? Top 3 reasons they're doing the business. Top 20. 50 names to practice with. When do you think you can have that done? Asking that question gives me an idea of who I'm working with. If they say, well, Dale, I could probably have it done, probably sometime, let's see, this is June. I should have it ready by October after vacation and baseball and my softball league and all. So I know. And I don't have to, they're not going to be one of my 3 people this year. Next. I'm going to treat them with respect. But guys, just get real with the way it is. Get real with the way it is. If you want to stack your odds for success in this business model, the network marketing business model, if you want to stack the odds for success in your favor and achieve your full upside potential, then you got to get real with the way it is. I hope this helped you. You guys have an awesome week. I got to jump off. God bless. We'll talk to you next week on another session of the MLMsuccess.com podcast. Get real with the way it is.
If you haven't gone over to iTunes yet and rated and left this podcast a review, what are you waiting for? At Calvert Marketing Group, we want to spend our time on the projects that we know are providing the most value for our clients and customers. You leaving us a review and feedback on iTunes is something that helps us more than you realize. And more importantly, it helps others like you find us. So if you've not taken the time to rate this podcast, please go over to iTunes and do that for us now. It will only take a couple of minutes out of your busy schedule. Work harder on yourself than you do on your business, and we will be back next week with another inspiring success story, wisdom of the ages training, or answers to your questions.